Black Ops universe has always been enshrouded in mystery. Some of the simple ones going back to Call of Duty Black Ops 1 was what exactly happened with Viktor Reznov. Was he dead? Was he alive? To this date, we don't really know. But these mysteries have continued year after year after year with every single Black Ops game. One that may come to mind is what exactly happened with Bell at the end of Black Ops Cold War. This video will touch on that, but more importantly, we're going to be diving into Black Ops 6 and the mysterious character who we play as in that game. Now, the main character in Black Ops 6 is not Woods, it's not Adler, it's not even the new character of Troy Marshall. It's a mysterious character who we play as, and he is none other than William Case Calderon. Now, in case, see what I did there, you didn't know, Case is the main playable character in Call of Duty Black Ops 6. You start playing as him in the very first mission, where you're going to extradite Alawi. And well, let's just say that didn't end up going very well thanks to Russell Adler.
No! Adler! Stand down!
Now, after this, Case is brought into an interrogation room, along with the other main characters who you were on that mission with. This includes Troy Marshall, Jane Harrow, and even Russell Adler is brought into custody as well. But the weird part about this is through that interrogation, you never once actually see Case. He is nowhere to be seen within that room. In fact, you really can never see Case through the entirety of all of Call of Duty Black Ops 6. In fact, if you go ahead and use an RCXD, you can't even see Case's body. The only time you can actually see him through the entire campaign is in the mission called Hunting Season. And don't worry, we're going to come back to this mission for something a little later on. But while you're driving the vehicle, you can go in and actually see the front-facing view of Case. However, he has a mask on, he has sunglasses on, so in other words, there is a ton of mystery surrounding this character. So what if I told you that the mystery surrounding Case has already been answered in so many ways that you may not have realized? Because I truly believe that this is not the first time we have played as this character. It is the first time we played this character with this name, but before this, his name was a little bit different. January 13th, 1981. This was in Black Ops Cold War. Our characters were hunting down a Perseus agent known as Arash Kadivar, when a bunch of other Perseus agents pull up to the airstrip, and Arash Kadivar pulls the trigger and shoots one of them. I'm gonna say that date one more time. January 13th, 1981. It is at this time that Russell Adler goes onto the airstrip and pulls this Perseus agent out of the car to save him, but not just to save him, also to brainwash him. Now, as we find out in Call of Duty Black Ops 6, a few days later on January 17th, 1981, 4 days after Bell was originally shot, Russell Adler shows up at the Advanced Technology and Applications Division within the CIA. This is the same building in Kentucky, and we even see it posted on his badge for that exact date. 4 days after Bell was originally taken into custody. Now, we know based off of things that were all found around the Advanced Technology and Applications Division, the reason why they started out was to figure out why Alex Mason was originally brainwashed and how he was brainwashed and how they could counter brainwash him. So it makes sense that when Russell Adler captured Bell, he would take him to this facility, because believe it or not, over a month later, February 23rd, 1981, Bell, Adler, Park, Sims, and all the other characters from Black Ops Cold War show up at the safe house. In other words, for over a month, Russell Adler was using MK Ultra and brainwashing Bell throughout that time. But you think that timeline's suspicious? Just wait, because things are about to get even more suspicious. As we go through the story of Black Ops Cold War, we end up finding out that Bell decides to team up with the Americans. Even though he has a background with Perseus, he chooses the Americans, and by the end of the story, he ends up telling them the exact plans that Perseus is planning and stopping them in a place called Solovetsky Island. This goes down on March 15th, 1981. It is just over a week earlier. We see this within Black Ops 6 in papers from the Advanced Technology and Application Division on March 7th, 1981, that at this time is when the CIA approved human testing using the Cradle program. In other words, just over a week before Bell was shot. Fast forward to March 15th, 1981, Bell is shot and then human trials begin. And guess who the first human volunteer for Cradle is? Someone known by the name of Case.
Fantastic to see you again, Case 1. How have you been feeling? A friendly reminder that most of the facility is off limits to patients. I hope you understand.
Welcome back, Case.
So the timelines completely add up. That is knocked out of the park. But what about the characters in it of themselves? Is there any proof to back up this story there? Well, this is where things begin to get a little bit harder to explain. But I do believe that there is one thing that we can point out here. And that is throughout the Black Ops stories, there is many different types of brainwashing. 3 in particular. Number 1 is what we saw in Call of Duty Black Ops 1. This was referred to as MK Ultra, but in fact, all 3 of the things that we're going to talk about are underneath Project MK Ultra. So the Black Ops 1 version is implanting memories in someone's head. This is very similar to what we saw with Bell in Black Ops Cold War, getting implanted with memories of being in the Vietnam War alongside Russell Adler to get information out about Perseus. The second sort of brainwashing, if you want to call it, is the Cradle Project. Now, the Cradle Project was designed to create super soldiers, but as we find out, it can also be used to induce rage, therefore creating a super soldier in a very, very different way. We will come back to this. There's also the third way, once again under the umbrella of MK Ultra, but this is what was used on Jane Harrow at the end of Black Ops 6.
Its official name is Phoenosorazine, but MK Ultra coined its separation. I've had it for a while. Let's hope it doesn't have an expiration date. In most test subjects, it fragmented their psyche, a form of induced schizophrenia. We're gonna find the part of Harrow that's willing to talk to us.
Now, what's interesting is each of these types of mind control can be seen in different missions throughout the game. So for example, this one can be seen in the mission Separation Anxiety, where we play as Jane Harrow and you can kind of see her split personality disorders. Now, the other version, the Cradle version, can 100% be seen in a couple different areas throughout the game. First of all, in the mission Emergence, as he drops into the Advanced Technology and Application Division, Case breathes in Cradle, therefore causing him to have these hallucinations, get angry, and rage out, similar to what we see in the very last cutscene of the game. But there is the final version, the original version of MK Ultra that we saw in Black Ops 1 as well as Black Ops Cold War. This can be seen as well. The first situation is at the end of the mission Emergence, when the phone rings for the final time, we get to hear that Case was brainwashed so that he would never be able to speak of Pantheon or Cradle ever again.
Remember your training, Case 1. You can never speak of the Cradle program or the Pantheon division. Never. Doing so could have unpredictable consequences.
And then throughout the campaign, every time Pantheon or Cradle is brought up, we get to see Case kind of trip out.
Pantheon.
We need to leave. You won't stand a chance against them.
They're calling it the Cradle,
The Cradle.
It's in Iraq right now.
presumably.
Case, beginning to think you're invincible.
We can't talk about it.
You still with me?
So we know that he is being controlled with MK Ultra when it comes to Pantheon and when it comes to Cradle. But this is where things get interesting, because as Adler and Case go to track down a specific scientist who worked on Cradle, Adler gives Case orders to kill this character. And without question, Case follows them.
That'll work. You can dispose of them now.
What? No! Enough! He told us what he knows.
Almost as though Adler brainwashed him in other ways as well, just like maybe Bell was in Black Ops Cold War.
We have a job to do.
You had to reach the Soviet bunker.
It appears the subject's programming is beginning to take hold.
We've got a job to do. We've known each other for years. Fought together, bled together, been through the hell of Vietnam together. We've got a job to do.
And now the training's complete. You just need to give the subject a name.
Bell.
So this alludes to the fact that Adler clearly has more control over Case than we originally thought or would be available just from using Cradle. So everything is pointing to the fact that Case and Bell are the same person. However, I've seen several people comment and write things to me saying that this is not the case, citing one reason and one reason in particular. And that is the fact that when we go around and talk to a character, for example, like Woods in the safe house, wouldn't he recognize Case as Bell and point it out? Well, here's the problem. People are actually have this completely backwards. For example, when it comes to Woods, Woods has been working alongside Case for a very long time, questionably around 10 years since he was originally brainwashed in the Advanced Technologies and Applications Division, hence why they never go up, shake hands, and introduce themselves. Similarly, there are two characters throughout the campaign that are introduced to Case who also worked alongside Bell in Black Ops Cold War. The first is Helen Park. Now, Helen Park introduces herself in the mission titled Hunting Season. It's essentially the open world mission, and when you first start talking to Park, once again, she never introduces herself, almost as though she has known Case for a very long period of time.
The SAS want these Scuds destroyed as much as you want that palace. We think the Iraqis could start launching at any time.
And honestly, I think this one is the nail in the coffin, because in the mission where you work alongside Lawrence Sims, Adler is talking to Sims, and then right when the conversation is about to switch over to Case, or I guess Bell, he specifically says, "Is that not right, Case?"
Guess that makes us a fire team, right, Case?
Which seemed like super weird to bring it up in that way, almost as if directing the conversation to Sims to make sure he refers to Case as Case and not as Bell. I never thought that actually made any sense, but right after that, Lawrence Sim pulls Case aside and once again reinfers the fact that he is speaking to Case.
Hold up, Case. Adler's on the hunt, but we still got rules out. I trust your father. Let's go.
Keep in mind, this entire time, Lawrence Sims, Frank Woods, Helen Park all worked alongside Russell Adler during Black Ops Cold War, being brand new to working alongside the character of Bell, and never once did they mess up his name, make him suspicious as to why they don't know him, but in fact, they acted as if they did know him and were aware of Bell and worked with him this entire time. Exactly the same as how all of these characters are acting around Case. Now, there is one more thing that I found super odd, and it all revolves around the end of Black Ops Cold War. Now, at the end of Black Ops Cold War, where Bell gets shot by Adler in that final cutscene, they say it's in Solovetsky, and in fact, even Adler says, "Is it nice to breathe in that Arctic air?"
Arctic air. There's the head, doesn't it?
But here's the thing, where we are standing here is these kind of cliffs. If you actually go into the real world and look at some images of Solovetsky, Solovetsky is like one of the flattest islands I have ever seen. There are no cliffs whatsoever. But what's interesting is one area that we can find with cliffs, in fact, almost the exact same cliffs that we see in that cutscene, is at the Rook, the safe house in Black Ops 6. So essentially what I'm telling you is there's a lot more to the Rook than meets the eye. There's a lot more to the safe house than meets the eye. And if that's something you'd like me to dive a little bit deeper into in the future, show me by hitting that like button, and maybe we should really take a deeper look at the safe house as a whole, because it's hiding some really dark mysteries. So I think it is extremely clear to say that indeed Case is Bell. But if you need a recap, here's all the evidence. First off, on January 13th, 1981, Bell is shot. 4 days later, on January 17th, is when Russell Adler first ends up at the Advanced Technology and Applications Division and is AWOL until February that year, when him and Bell then arrive at the safe house. It is then March 7th where the human trials are accepted for the Cradle project at Advanced Technologies and Applications Division. It is about a week later where Bell is shot and then seemingly brought into the Advanced Technology and Applications Division. Throughout the Black Ops 6 campaign, it is clear to see that Case is not able to talk about Cradle or Pantheon, and yet can be completely controlled by Adler.
You can dispose of him now. What? No! Enough! He told us what he knows.
And finally, every time Adler brings up Case to one of the members of the team, it's almost as if he's egging them on to make sure they don't mess up his name and call him Bell, but rather keep his name as Case.
Guess that makes us a fire team, right, Case?
Oh yeah, one more thing. At the very end of Black Ops 6, Jane Harrow actually tells you exactly what happened. In fact, she says, "I know who you really are. Case, the Cradle made you this way." In other words, it was someone else, and then Cradle made Case.
I know what you really are, Case. The Cradle made you this.